So you've been ordered to mediation, or you've gotten a call from your attorney telling you have to mediate, or you've just decided that you want to do this on your own because it's generally a whole lot better than going to court and having somebody in a black robe tell you what you're going to do, right? Hi, I'm Bryan Wallace. I'm an attorney mediator with 15 plus years of experience in mediating cases. I'm also on the Alabama State Court mediator roster, have been for years, and I help people settle cases for a living every single day of the week. If you've never been through a mediation, and presumably you're watching this because you and I are going to spend some time together in the very near future, I want to just kind of give you an overview of what to expect, what you can look forward to, and kind of just sort of have a minute with you just to explain that there's nothing to be nervous about. Okay, this is low key. I'm low key. I'm going to bring you into the office. Your mediation will be at 215. My Florence office at 215 West College Street in Florence. It's literally a block west of the courthouse down the hill. I will bring you in. It's a low-key process that is rooted in self-determination and confidentiality. There's several rules that I'll get into on the day that we meet. We'll talk about fees and other matters, but in a nutshell, I want just to take a moment with you so that I hear so many times people come in and they're just scared to death. And this is not a court proceeding. Look, I'm not a judge. I'm not going to have a court reporter here. This is just a low-key process that allows the parties to get together on an appointed day to see if we can work things out. As a neutral, though, the takeaway here is I'm not going to decide the outcome of your dispute, okay? That is up to the two of you. I also do civil work. I do federal work. I do appellate work. But the most of what I see is domestic, okay? And so if you've got a circumstance that lands you here, one thing to remember is most of the time court cases occur because there aren't clear expectations and goals. And so many people that I see in my office are here because they just really don't have an instruction manual that tells them, okay, I'm going to do this, you're going to do that, here are the expectations. And one of my goals when you come in is to allow you to leave with a framework that tells you, okay, for the next 15 years, here's what you're going to do, here's what I'm going to do. I don't want you back in court. And a lot of times, good people just need instructions and expectations so that they know how things are going to work going forward. If we are successful, and listen, as a neutral in this, I'm not your lawyer, I'm not their lawyer, I'm an attorney, and that's important. But, nobody's going to make you do something you don't want to do. So, the goal here, but it's our shot. Today's our day. And so, I tell people if we're successful in putting this together and reaching an agreement, it will be memorialized in writing. The parties will review things. They'll ask all the questions they have. And then if they are at peace with it, they sign it, okay? Once it's signed, it can be submitted to the court. The important takeaway here is that the process itself is rooted in confidentiality, and it's also rooted in self-determination. So I don't want anyone's expectations to be such that, because I'll ask people, what are your goals when you come in? Nobody knows your family like you do. Nobody knows your finances like you do. There are advantages to settling a case here in my office instead of having a public trial. Nobody knows your case like you know your case. And as we've got amazing judges, okay? But it's always better if we can figure it out on our own, in my opinion. And the data will show that. If you've never been through this process, you may have some questions. Well, who can come? How do we do that? What does the process look like? The parties of record and counsel, under the rules, are the only ones that can attend, okay? Are there exemptions to that? Exceptions, certainly. I have to screen for domestic violence, so if that's an issue, please let me know. I typically will see that in the file because I just do a tremendous amount of preparation work on my cases, so I know in advance. My goal is to know your case cold, okay, when you come in. There's also an exception under the rules for people that are not represented by an attorney. So if that is the case, let me know. The process itself is much, much better than going to court. It allows the parties to resolve things on their own and do so typically in a manner that's much, much faster than having to wait on a court date. So it's usually much cheaper, it's usually much quicker, and it allows the parties to be in charge of what ultimately happens. And we know statistically that people are much, much more likely to adhere to agreements that they had something to do with, right? And they're much, much less likely to end up going back to court because they've had their hands in the process, so they know exactly what they're getting when they leave here. So I look forward to seeing you soon. If you have any questions, call me here at the office or email me. I'm super responsive by email, 256-740-3011, or email me, Bryan, Bryan, @hbwlegal.com. See you soon.